Australian public started accepting the Australian artists, and it started to work much better for us.
Was he what they'd call a soloist with a backing band?
Yeah, he had Johnny O'Keefe and DJs. Yeah, but Johnny
Right.
was
What was his why? Why was he? Obviously, he was a showman. And,
Yeah, he was a showman. He was an artist on stage. He wasn't all over the place, but he had this rhythm, and he had this magic that seemed to get through. And he had great songs, all original songs. He was doing originals, and he was. When you saw him on stage, he was a light on stage. He was just really amazing. He was an amazing artist, and he was number one. He was definitely number one in Australia. Wow. He went overseas, didn't do so well overseas, but in Australia he was really tops. He made, he was. When we had our record, we got our big record going, and we went to Queensland to sing up there when the record became number one, and we were never able to get onto the O'Keefe show. He had the Johnny O'Keefe show, 6 o'clock rock. On the ABC, and he only had the big people on that, and so we always wanted to do it, but we'd never do it. Right. It wasn't until we actually got the number one in Queensland that he rang us and said, "I want you on my show," and we went to Sydney and did that, and that was the highlight of it. Oh, that was it. If you made that 6 o'clock rock, you were there. There was no two ways about it. To be on his show was amazing.
Do you remember? Did he make the call?
He made the call. He made the call. We got it from him.
Hello, excuse me?
Yeah, not his manager or anything. It was him.
Yeah.
Because that was the honour to get on his show if he made the call. Yeah, that's how big he was.
Great times.
Yeah, a great tragedy when he got killed. Great tragedy. You go to the Gold Coast now. You go to Coolangatta in the Gold Coast, and there's his statue up on the.
Yeah, that's true.
And right in the middle of town. Because it was known, Coolangatta became a real rock sort of rock town, as you know. Yeah. And there's his statue up there, number one.
I'm a little involved with. It's not Winter Sun anymore. It's Cooley Rocks On.
Yeah,
but there's a guy there called Jimmy Maxwell who was one of the original Winter Sun guys.
Yes.
I think it was '68. It was a water ski sort of. For a couple of years they did water skiing, and then Jimmy was the one. He's just around in Crumman. Yeah. He said, "No, people come here, and they've always come here for rock and roll and cars. So let's make this thing." This Winter Sun Festival more about cars and rock and roll, but I still don't know why it was. I remember my auntie would do the jitterbug at the Green Mountain Hotel. She was that they had a lot of stuff happening. No, not the at the surf club.
Yes.
So why did people come so much? Was it the surfing and they all stayed? And
yeah, I don't know. I went to the last rock show a month ago. Yeah, Cooley Rocks. Yeah. The crowds.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, the crowds were fabulous, and the procession, the trucks going past, all the rock and rollers dancing on the. It was amazing. It's so big now. It's and it's still there. Rock and roll is still here. It's all still here. Very strong.
How about with the white people who dress up? The normal people,
Yeah, back in the old gears, back in the flaring skirts and
really cool.
all that. Really, it's still here. Cool. It's marvelous. And you go to these places now where they're playing music. Steve, my boy Steve, and he's a DJ. He does DJing as well, as you know. Yeah. And he does DJs, and when he starts putting rock and roll on, and people get up and dance, and they go crazy.
It's undeniable.
It's still there.
Yeah, that's right.
Still there.
It's just that the backbeat, as the Beatles would say.
That's right.
You just can't stop. Isn't dancing strange? Yeah. We had a gig at an Irish bar the other Saturday night, and I found in between we'd sing for an hour, or play for an hour, having a 20-minute break. And I turned to someone because the dance floor was full when we were sitting there waiting because they had a DJ there as well. I went, isn't dancing weird? Like if you were to be an alien and look down and go, what are they doing? There's just something about a beat that makes you move this certain way, and then style comes into it in your mind. Well, I want to align with this kind of music. Yeah. Yeah. I've never been to the UK, but my mum's from Kent.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So you went there as a band?
We went there as a band, yes. We went there as a band. And,
hey, could you tell me what sort of year? Because I'm interested in AC/DC came from George Young, who was in the Easy Beats. Yeah. Right, so
that's the era. We went to England in 1964. We were taken over by a shipping line, by P&O. They took us out. We
how many weeks?
Entertained on the ship.
Yeah.
And
okay.
It was good. And then it took us about, I think, 3 or 4 weeks to get over to England. About 4 weeks. And then we arrived in England, right? Okay, and we thought, here we are. We've made England.
And we're Aussies.
Yes. Yeah, we're great, what do we do now?
Right.
We didn't, because we weren't known in England. We didn't know,
Okay.
they didn't know us, and the Australian we hadn't gone there. When we made our That's What I Want in Australia, it was picked up by RCA America, and RCA America released it in 32 countries around the world.
Yeah.
And it went quite big in Germany, but didn't go. I don't think it worked in England, so they didn't know us. But on the way to England, when we got to India, Ceylon, Colombo, they were waiting for us there because it went well in Colombo, in India. But we got to England, didn't know. So what did we do? We didn't know what to do.
Starting again.
So we started sort of, we'll go around and see a few agents,
Mm-hmm.
And we went to RCA, and RCA said, well, we don't do any recording here, but we can give you some contacts, So they gave us a contact to a guy at the BBC 2, and we went there for an audition. And he said, okay, well, sing me something. So we sang That's What I Want, our big record. He said, oh, yeah, that's pretty good. He said, but we've got 2,000 groups sing like that here. What else can you do? We said, well, what do you mean, what else can we do? He said, well, can't you sing something else? Can you sing Waltzing Matilda or something? I said, what? Sing Waltzing Matilda?
What?
We said, oh, we know a song called We're Riding to the Never Never, an old country song, He said, well, sing that. So we sang that. He said, okay, you're on the show next week.
Interesting.
And there we were.
Right.
Just see?
So in Australia, they were looking for something that's from overseas, but in...
Yeah, they had 2,000 groups over there like we were, So what do we start now? We've got these groups we've got to compete against, They were everywhere. It was alive. England was alive in 64.
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
Wow.
That's what what was it like? So I only heard the other day that in Australia, my house was built in 1904. Australia, there was only 4 million people in the entire country 100 years ago.
Yeah.
So the 60s, you'd argue that there were maybe...
1.5 million, 2 million people here. There was 10 million in London.
Yeah, so what?
Yeah.
1,500 more bands in your suburb.
Oh, yeah.
Town.
And all the pubs were running these big bands, who became big names,
Yep.
Rolling Stones, all that sort of bit. They were playing in pubs and that sort of stuff. That's how, and,
Do you remember your fashion? Did you get off the board and go, oh, geez, are we cool? Or, is this
Well, the
is
fashion
this
was the
right?
same, basically the same. The fashion was the same. Soho in London was very fashion conscious, very full on. Because the Beatles were still wearing suits. The Rolling Stones were a bit more, not quite. They were a bit more rebellious, They didn't quite wear the suits sort of business. But they were still well dressed.
Yep.
All the bands were well dressed,
Yeah, well, they were in the blues sort of...
Yeah,
which was kind
rhythm
of
and blues.
Yeah, which is a whole sub
Yeah.
thing, which is off to the side.
Yeah,
so.
they were rhythm and blues. That was their thing, rhythm and blues. Beatles were more beat. With strange chord structure. All their songs had different chord structure. That's how they made it, because everything had been very, what we call 3-chord structures, or rhythm and blues structure. The Beatles, they wrote their own songs and they changed the whole chord structure, and people went, ooh, it's different. What are they doing?
Okay.
What are they doing? It's different. Much different.
Okay.
And that's where they made the success. Plus the way they were dressed and so forth, the long hair and everything.
Yeah.
But, England was absolutely alive. You wouldn't believe how exciting it was. You walk into Soho and it's, wow, look at this, and all the pubs with all these bands, and they were playing good stuff, really good stuff,
You must have shone like Aussies, though, a little.
Well, sort of, I suppose, but it was still hard. Nobody wanted to know us. We went agent to agent, nobody wanted to know us. It was just really, they were all full up. They really had everything they wanted. They didn't want anything new, and even though we're Australian, it didn't really matter that much. So the Easy Beats came over. Easy Beats had done well. They had their records over there released. So they were known. Cicadas, not so much. The Cicadas group, the Cicadas.
Yes,
They went like us. They went over by ship, and they were there for, I think about 12 months before we got there. And they were playing the clubs over there, the same as we finished up doing the clubs. And they were lucky. They got a big break. They were with an agency called Lou and Leslie Grade Agency, and they were the biggest agency in London. Right. And they were tied in with the theatres as well. So they had all the big names in their agency, and there used to be a show called the London Palladium on a Sunday night, went out to 15 million people, and they used, a lot of their artists were on that show because they had a deal with the management of that show, that theatre, and the Seekers were working north, and I think somebody was ill or something, and the Seekers were brought down, and they did that show, and that was the biggest break they ever got. And once they did that show, they did very well, and they made their first record, #1, and that's how it all happened for the Seekers. And
amazing.
A great group. We worked with them. We toured with them once. They were lovely people.
Were they a different kind of act though?
Yes, they were.
Yeah.
They weren't. They were very clean cut. They were different. See, they were really different. All these other groups are singing all this rock and beat stuff. The Cicadas weren't. They were singing more melodic
maybe,
stuff,
yeah.
more traditional type songs. They were originally a folk group, so their influence is more in the folk area, and that was different in England. See, and that everyone went, "Oh, that's nice, that's different," and that was cool to see. Right. So they did that, but we didn't do that. We stuck with the rock and roll, and because we felt that was the way to go. And but eventually it worked for us. But you know, it took a while.
Hey, I just remembered what I forgot before. I realised that you sort of have your favourite, your personal favourite styles or whatever. It sort of gets up to a point maybe, and then now I find every sort of 5 years a song pops in, you hear it in the radio and you go, yeah, that I definitely like that.
Yeah.
And you might sing it for a little while and then it goes away, and then a few years later, that's how it is for me now.
Yeah.
You know, but
the songs in those days were hits, and they're still around today.
Yeah.
They've lasted all this time. You know, you're still
kids instantly dance to them. That's what
they're still played. You know, still big names. You know, people those days are still known today. Even if they're not here with us, they're still known, and their songs are still around. Yeah, and that will always be around.
Yeah. Well, my other $2 theory on that is, with all this technology, you can find out too much about a band. You think of all the bands in that time. It was what you heard. It was like you heard about what the stories they did after this show, like Johnny O'Keefe's a wild, and what he did, and you didn't actually know it. You know, you know, and then they finally came to your town, and people went crazy because they're here. We have to go see them actually with our own eyes.
Yes, you know? They're legends. You see, they're legends. They've become a legend. And untouchable, untouchable. You know, and even today, if you watch a thing like The Voice, you know, and you see the people who are judging on The Voice, and the artists who come on and sing, they're singing to these legends in front of them, and they want to touch them, want to sing their songs, or they want to be part of them. You know, that's still today. That still happens. You know, it's still there. It's still there. Nothing's different. It's always been like that.
Do you watch that show?
Yeah,
you've watched it a few times. Yeah,
I do. Love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I wonder in this country where all that talent comes from, because there's so much talent in Australia. Yeah. You know, on that show, the great voices, where are they coming from? Yeah. You know, why haven't we heard of these people before? Unfortunately, there's not the avenues to work at now as what there was in our day. You know, we had television was new, we had theatre, we had vaudeville shows, like Tivoli shows we could work on. There was plenty of television, you know, the rock shows, the pop shows, variety shows, much more variety in America and even in England those days. A lot of variety shows. Nowadays we don't get that so much. No. So you get someone who wants to get somewhere, what do they got to do? The only avenue they've got really to go is onto a talent show where they can be seen by you know, and judged. Yeah. And that's great. That's there today that they can do that. If it wasn't there, I don't know what they'd do to get on, you know, to get known. That's right. You know, I mean, I know social media now. They're doing their own recordings in their own homes now, and it's going out. It's being picked up by all the kids around the world are buying their records. You know, iTunes and all sort of stuff. Yeah. Well, we didn't have that nowadays. You know, it's purely up to the recording companies. No. But nowadays they have all this. Yeah. It's there for them. You know, it's wow.
It is a shame they don't get the you know, the constant grind. It is a grind, but you know, when you load in the afternoon, you do that sound check, and then as four people in a band, you become part of the industry through all the shows you do, and you get to know the venues, and there's that guy, there's this guy, there's the agent. Yeah. That's really what's missing out of their lives.
I don't know. In our day, we had to sort of do the apprenticeship. You know, we had to learn. We had to go under the clubs and work with bad audiences and get to know the industry. You know, what it was. Nowadays, somebody can make a record or something, and it's an instant hit. Yeah. Overnight, it's a hit. But they haven't had the grounding. You know, you know, by the old days, you could go out and do a show and go on stage for an hour and entertain for an hour because you'd learnt to do that through all the apprenticeship. Nowadays, I don't know how the artists do it. They make one record and then everyone expects them to go out on a tour and do an hour show.
They might ruin them, because they might go, I don't like this.
How do they know what to do, you know? So they obviously they've got people behind them to help them produce what they're doing. You know, and they've got lighting now, they've got lights, they've got the best sound you can ever get. Everything's there for you, you know. And nowadays we had no lights, we had a little guitar and a little amplifier sitting beside us and trying to entertain 2,000 people, you know.
Hey, what was your favourite gear?
I had a Fender. I had a Fender bass. And I had
Yeah.
Fender bass and a bass, Fender bass. All my stuff was Fender.
Fender, okay.
The boys were using Stratocasters.
Yeah.
You know, and Johnny, my best mate, he had a Guild. He had a Guild.
Oh, that's what I had.
You got a Guild?
Guild 64,
Yeah.
65 Starfire
Yep.
colourways.
Yeah.
Did he have the same guitars?
No, different one.
different.
You know, another one. Yeah.
Okay.
But that was what we had. Yeah, best.
Right.
When we went to England, we bought the stuff on. We had to pay for it. We hadn't paid for it. We went to England. We were still sending $2 or £2 back to pay for our gear every week. You know,
That's great.
to keep going. We
Yeah.
bought the best gear we could get.
Yep.
But we had to